Sino nga ba ang mag-aakala na ang isang batang lalaki mula sa isang simpleng pamilya sa Rome, Italy, ang magiging isa sa pinakamahalagang tao sa kasaysayan ng siyensya? This is the story of Enrico Fermi. Hindi siya galing sa mayaman na pamilya, hindi rin siya nagkaroon ng mga special tutor. Ang kanyang ama ay isang civil servant at simple lang ang kanilang pamumuhay. Pero sa kabila nito, may isang bagay na hindi matatawaran kay Enrico. Ang kanyang matinding curiosity. Bata pa lang, kitang-kita na ang kanyang pagkahilig sa pag-aaral, lalo na sa mathematics and physics. Para sa kanya, ang mundo ay isang malaking puzzle na naghihintay lang na ma-solve. Ang kwento ng kanyang pagiging henyo ay nagsimula sa isang hindi inaasahang lugar sa isang local market sa Rome. Doon, sa edad na 14, nakita niya ang isang lumang libro na nakasulat sa Latin. Ang titulo nito ay Elementorum Physicae Mathematicae. It was a 900-page physics textbook from the 1840s, a book that most teenagers would simply ignore. Pero para kay Enrico, this was a treasure. Tinuruan niya ang sarili niyang basahin ang libro, kahit na ito ay nasa wikang Latin at puno ng mga komplikadong konsepto. This single act of determination showed the kind of mind he had. A mind that didn't need a formal classroom to learn. Ang kanyang pagkahilig sa siyensya ay lalo pang lumalim dahil sa kanyang kuya na si Giulio. Magkasama silang gumagawa ng mga scientific experiment, tulad ng paggawa ng electric motors at pag-aaral ng gyroscopes. They were not just brothers, they were best friends and intellectual partners. Ngunit isang trahedya ang yumanig sa buhay ni Enrico. Noong 1915, biglang namatay si Giulio during a minor throat operation. The loss was devastating for the 14-year-old Enrico. Para makayanan ang lungkot, ibinuhos niya ang lahat ng kanyang oras at atensyon sa pag-aaral ng physics. Science became his refuge, a way to cope with the pain of losing his brother and best friend. Sa mga sumunod na taon, lalo pang lumawak ang kanyang kaalaman. Kahit wala siyang formal guidance, he taught himself advanced concepts like quantum mechanics and Einstein's theory of relativity. Mga paksang kahit ang mga university professor noon ay hirap na hirap intindihin. Nakahanap siya ng kaibigan sa isang co-worker ng kanyang ama, si Adolfo Amidei, na nakakita sa pambihirang talino ng bata. Ipinahiram ni Amidei kay Enrico ang mas marami pang libro at laking gulat niya na kayang-kaya itong intindihin at i-master ng binata. It was clear, even then, that Enrico Fermi was not just smart, he was on a completely different level. Nang dumating ang panahon para pumasok sa kolehiyo, pinayuhan si Enrico na subukan ang entrance exam para sa Scuola Normale Superiore sa Pisa. This was not just any university, ito ang pinaka-prestigious at pinakamahirap na pasukan sa buong Italy. The entrance exam was legendary for its difficulty, designed to find only the best and the brightest minds in the country. Ang topic ng essay para sa exam ay specific characteristics of sounds. Habang ang ibang mga aplikante ay nagsulat ng mga simpleng sagot, si Enrico ay gumamit ng advanced Fourier analysis para i-derive at i-solve ang partial differential equation ng isang vibrating rod. In short, his answer was at a doctoral level. Nang makita ng examiner ang kanyang gawa, hindi siya makapaniwala. He thought it was so advanced that it must have been a mistake or worse, copied. Ipinatawag niya ang 17 anyos na si Enrico para sa isang interview. He asked him to defend his work. Kalmado at buong kumpiyansang ipinaliwanag ni Enrico ang bawat detalye ng kanyang solusyon. The professor was left speechless. Sabi niya, for the first time in the history of the difficult entrance exam, he was meeting someone who was not just a student, but a future master of science. Siyempre, Enrico aced the exam and entered the university with a full scholarship. He was clearly destined for greatness. Pero, may isang problema. Ang university ay masyadong madali para sa kanya. Ang mga itinuturo sa klase ay mga bagay na matagal na niyang natutunan sa sarili niyang pag-aaral. He quickly became bored. While his classmates were struggling with basic physics, Fermi was already reading papers on general relativity and quantum mechanics, often in their original German. He was learning faster than his professors could teach. Para hindi siya mainip, madalas siyang magpunta sa library at magbasa ng mga scientific journal. Tinuturuan ang sarili niya ng mga pinakabagong tuklas sa mundo ng physics. His thirst for knowledge was simply unquenchable. Dahil sa kanyang boredom, binuo niya ang isang grupo kasama ang kanyang kaibigan na si Franco Rasetti. They were a fun-loving group of pranksters who also happened to be physics geniuses. They would challenge each other with complex problems, conduct their own experiments, and even play pranks on other students and professors. This group became Enrico's real classroom. Dito, malaya siyang mag-explore ng mga ideya na hindi sakop ng curriculum. It was also during this time that he showed his talent for simplifying complex ideas. Minsan, kahit ang kanyang mga professor ay lumalapit sa kanya para humingi ng tulong sa pag-intindi ng mga bagong teorya tulad ng Einstein's relativity. Pagkatapos niyang makuha ang kanyang doctorate degree sa murang edad na 21, hindi nagtagal at nakilala na ang galing ni Enrico Fermi. He started publishing groundbreaking papers on quantum mechanics, earning the respect of famous scientists across Europe like Max Born and Paul Ehrenfest. Noong 1926, sa edad na 25, he developed what is now known as Fermi-Dirac statistics. This was a revolutionary idea that described how certain particles, which he called fermions, behave. This discovery was so important that it became one of the cornerstones of modern quantum physics. Ang batang henyo mula sa Rome ay isa ng world-class physicist. Agad siyang binigyan ng professorship sa University of Rome, kung saan siya ang naging kauna-unahang theoretical physics professor sa Italy. His mission was clear, to bring modern physics to his home country. Nagsimula siyang bumuo ng isang team ng mga batang, brilliant na physicist. This group became famously known as the Via Panisperna Boys, named after the street where their laboratory was located. Under Fermi's leadership, they transformed Rome into a world center for physics research, rivaling the established institutions in Germany and England. He was their undisputed leader, and they gave him a fitting nickname, Il Papa, or the Pope. Bakit the Pope? Because he was considered infallible when it came to physics. He had an incredible intuition, a feel for how nature worked. He could often guess the answer to a problem before doing the long and complicated calculations. His students would say that Fermi's mind was like a dual-processor computer. One part would do the precise logical calculations, while the other part would use intuition and estimation to get a rough answer first. This ability to simplify and estimate, known as the Fermi method, is something he taught his students and is still used by scientists today. Ang kanyang leadership style ay hindi stricto o formal. He was a mentor who was also a friend. He encouraged open discussion, collaboration, and even humor in the laboratory. They would work intensely on experiments, then go on hikes in the mountains, challenging each other with physics puzzles along the way. Fermi believed that science should be fun, and that the best way to learn was by doing. It was under this inspiring environment that his group made another huge discovery in the 1930s. They found that neutrons could be used to create new radioactive elements, a breakthrough that would eventually win him the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1938. Habang namamayagpag ang career ni Fermi sa Italy, isang madilim na anino ang unti-unting bumalot sa Europe. Ito ang pag-usbong ng fascism sa ilalim ni Benito Mussolini. Noong una, sinubukan ni Fermi na iwasan ang politika at mag-focus na lang sa kanyang trabaho. Pero hindi ito nagtagal. Noong 1938, nagpasa ang gobyerno ni Mussolini ng mga racial laws na katulad ng mga batas ng Nazi Germany. Ang mga batas na ito ay direktang nag-target sa mga Jewish citizen. This was a personal crisis for Fermi. Ang kanyang asawa, si Laura Capon, ay Jewish. Bigla, ang kanilang buhay at ang kinabukasan ng kanilang mga anak ay nalagay sa panganib. Alam ni Fermi na kailangan nilang umalis sa Italy, pero kailangan nilang maging maingat. Ang gobyerno ni Mussolini ay ayaw pakawala ng isang sikat na scientist tulad niya. But they found an opportunity. Noong taon ding iyon, inanunsyo na si Fermi ang nanalo ng Nobel Prize in Physics. This was their chance. Ang seremonya ng parangal ay gaganapin sa Stockholm, Sweden. Nagplano ang pamilya Fermi na pagkatapos ng seremonya, hindi na sila babalik sa Italy. Instead, they would travel directly to the United States, where several universities had already offered him a position. Ang kanilang pag-alis ay parang isang eksena sa isang spy movie. They packed their bags, pretending it was just a short trip to Sweden. They withdrew their savings without raising suspicion. Nang tanggapin ni Fermi ang kanyang Nobel Medal mula kay King Gustav V of Sweden, he did not give the fascist salute, which was a subtle act of defiance against Mussolini's regime. Pagkatapos ng seremonya, sila ay sumakay ng barko patungong New York. They were leaving everything behind, their home, their friends, at ang scientific institution na pinaghirapan niyang buuin. Pero they were escaping to freedom and safety. Pagdating nila sa Amerika noong January 1939, isang bagong kabanata ang nagsimula para kay Fermi. He accepted a position at Columbia University in New York. Malungkot man na iwanan ng Italy, alam niyang tama ang kanyang desisyon. Sa Amerika, malaya siyang makakapagpatuloy ng kanyang trabaho nang walang takot sa political persecution. Little did he know that his arrival in the United States would coincide with a discovery that would change the course of human history and place him at the very center of the most ambitious and secret scientific project ever undertaken. Ang mundo ay nasa bingit ng digmaan, at ang kaalaman ni Fermi sa neutrons ay magiging mas mahalaga kaysa dati. Pagdating ni Fermi sa Amerika, isang balita ang gumimbal sa physics community na tuklasan ng dalawang German chemist, sina Otto Hahn at Fritz Strassmann, ang nuclear fission. This meant that it was possible to split a uranium atom, releasing a tremendous amount of energy. Agad na na-realize ni Fermi at ng ibang mga scientist tulad ni Leo Szilard ang implikasyon nito. Kung ang isang fission event ay maglalabas ng mas maraming neutrons na magti-trigger ng iba pang fissions, a self-sustaining chain reaction could be created. This could lead to a new source of power, but it could also lead to an incredibly powerful bomb, something the world had never seen before. Dahil sa takot na baka ang Nazi Germany ang unang makagawa ng atomic bomb, sinulatan ni Albert Einstein at Leo Szilard si US President Franklin D. Roosevelt, warning him of the danger. This led to the creation of the top-secret Manhattan Project, a massive effort to build an atomic bomb before the Germans could. At sino ang pinakamagaling na tao para pamunuan ang experimental side ng proyekto? Of course, it was Enrico Fermi. His expertise with neutrons and his genius for both theory and experiment made him the perfect leader for the job. Ang kanyang misyon, to build the world's first-ever nuclear reactor and prove that a self-sustaining chain reaction was possible. Ang lugar na napili para sa makasaysayang eksperimentong ito ay hindi isang high-tech na laboratorio. It was under the abandoned squash courts of Stagg Field at the University of Chicago. Doon, pinamunuan ni Fermi ang isang team para buuin ang tinawag nilang atomic pile. It was a massive structure made of 45,000 graphite blocks weighing almost 400 tons, with uranium carefully placed inside. Si Fermi mismo ang nag-oversee sa bawat detalye, working long hours, his hands and face often covered in black graphite dust. He was a hands-on leader, calculating, directing, and even helping with the physical labor. He was calm, confident, and methodical, inspiring his team with his quiet competence. Then came the historic day, December 2, 1942. With a small group of scientists and officials watching, Fermi gave the order to begin the experiment. Slowly, the control rods were pulled out of the pile. The clicking of the neutron counters grew faster and faster. Everyone was tense. At exactly 3:25 p.m., Fermi announced with a calm smile, "The reaction is self-sustaining." They had done it. They had unleashed the power of the atom. For 28 minutes, the world's first man-made nuclear reactor operated, proving that a chain reaction was not just a theory. A scientist observing the event made a secret phone call to the project leaders and said, "The Italian navigator has landed in the new world." Ang tagumpay ng Chicago Pile 1 ay ang simula ng atomic age. It directly led to the development of the atomic bombs that were used in World War II, a legacy that Fermi himself found troubling. But it also paved the way for the peaceful use of nuclear energy, which now provides electricity to millions of homes around the world. It also opened up new fields in medicine, such as nuclear imaging and cancer therapy. Ang gawa ni Fermi ay nagbago sa mundo sa paraang hindi niya marahil lubusang naisip noong una. He was a key figure in one of history's most powerful and controversial scientific achievements. Pagkatapos ng digmaan, si Fermi ay nagpatuloy sa kanyang trabaho sa University of Chicago. he became a beloved professor and mentor to a new generation of physicists, many of whom would also go on to win Nobel Prizes. Sa kabila ng kanyang katanyagan at mga nagawa, nanatili siyang isang humble at approachable na tao. He was more interested in discovering the secrets of nature than in fame or awards. He preferred working in the lab, getting his hands dirty, and solving the next big puzzle. He was a builder and a problem solver at heart, a true scientist who found joy in the process of discovery itself. Ang kwento ni Enrico Fermi ay hindi lang kwento ng isang henyo. It's a story of incredible curiosity and relentless determination. Ipinakita niya na hindi kailangan ng yaman o pribilehiyo para maging matagumpay at baguhin ang mundo. Ang kailangan ay isang isip na laging nagtatanong at isang pusong hindi sumusuko sa mga pagsubok. Mula sa isang batang nag-aaral mag-isa gamit ang isang lumang libro hanggang sa pagiging Italian navigator na nagdala sa atin sa atomic age, ang buhay ni Fermi ay isang patunay na ang pinakamalaking hadlang sa ating mga pangarap ay madalas tayong mga sarili lang. Today, his name lives on. Ang fermions ay ang pangalan ng isang klase ng fundamental particles. Ang fermium ay isang element sa periodic table. Ang Fermilab ay isa sa mga nangungunang particle physics laboratory sa buong mundo. But perhaps his greatest legacy is his inspiring story. It reminds us that knowledge is for everyone, that science is a grand adventure, and that even a boy from a simple family, armed with nothing but a curious mind and a determined spirit, can indeed change the world. Hindi kailangan ng magic, kailangan lang ng sipag at pagnanais na matuto.